Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a cooking video. I've compiled some clips across the month. As you can see, I've got some pho noodles, eggs, garlic, onion, oyster sauce, ABC sauce, and fish sauce. And I've also cut up some thin strips of the top side beef. In the pan here, I've got some butter, which I'm melting down. Then I add in my garlic and onions, and I just saute that a little bit while slightly seasoning with a little bit of salt. I just wanted to mention you can use any protein of choice. You can use chicken, prawns, squid, tofu, and even mushrooms. I'm choosing beef in this particular meal, but you can use whatever you like. I'm going to start the seasoning process shortly. I don't have exact measurements because I normally season as I go and taste as I go. So probably just eyeball how much sauce I'm putting in. So I've also added in some Chinese cooking wine and the oyster sauce. I kind of stir that through a little bit before adding the rest of the sauces. Now, if you want a bit more of a thicker sauce, you can make a cornstarch slurry if you like. I was too lazy this particular day, so I just left it as is. I pulled out the beef and put it in a bowl so it doesn't overcook, and then I've added in my spinach to cook in that sauce. Now I'm going to add in my pho noodles to cook. Sometimes I like to heat them up in the microwave before adding it to the meal, especially if the pho noodles have been in the fridge because they tend to be quite hard then. And I'm also adding an egg in. This is optional. If you don't like egg, just leave it out. I kind of just mix it through like a scrambled egg, kind of similar to the egg in the pad thai. Now before I mix in that egg, I do add a little bit of soy sauce and I add in some oyster sauce as well. And then I add in my cooked beef strips, and to finish it all off, I put a little bit of that ABC glaze sauce on top. And that's the finished product. It was so good. This next meal is a super quick and easy one, really popular for busy households. I've got some ravioli. I'm tossing them in some boiling water to cook. Once I strain them, I do a really simple passata sauce, which I basically buy in a jar, guys, and then I just add some garlic, onions, and veggies such as spinach or mushrooms. It's just whatever I have on hand that particular week. So here are the clips for that. I normally buy the muddy passata if it's on sale. If it's not, then I buy whatever is most cost effective in store. I find adding onion and garlic into the passata makes it extra tasty, but some weeks I leave it out because I'm either super lazy or super busy. So this is the sauce, guys. I just strain my ravioli and toss it in, and I tend to add on a little bit of melted cheese at the end. So in this next clip, guys, I'm attempting to make a pad thai, keyword attempt. So I'm just following the instructions on the packet. I've got some oil, and then I think the instructions said to heat up the onion and garlic seasoning pack that they included. Then I took out the onions and garlic and scrambled an egg in the oil. Now, I know normally pad thai uses chicken. I am using pork belly because that's what I had on this particular week. So I've cut them up into some thin slices. I actually pre-boiled this before. Yeah, so then I'm just mixing the pork belly in with the egg. Then I'm adding in some mushrooms. I know pad thai normally has different veggies, but I like to use whatever I have on hand. I would love to add in some Chinese broccoli if I had any on hand, but I don't. So instead, I'm adding in some leafy greens, so baby spinach, which I had in the fridge. So I basically cook all of my veggies, and then I add in my pad thai noodles, which I pre-boiled in a separate pot. Those little dark specks you guys can see is the onions and garlic that I pre-cooked at the start. Then I add in the packet of pad thai sauce. It was actually quite tangy, but I didn't mind it. So I mix everything in, and that separate packet there was the finishing sauce. So I cut the heat and added that in. So this is the packet of sauce that I used for those who are interested. So yeah, that was the finished product. In this next meal, it was a pretty lazy one. I am trialing this kimchi instant ramen noodles, and I did add in some pork belly, which I had in the freezer, and it's actually quite tasty. I definitely will be buying this instant noodle packet again when it's on sale though, because I think normal price is $8 and I bought it on sale for $4 for a packet of 5. But I am a huge fan of this, so I will get it again. I also wanted to mention, I think I added in some straw mushrooms as well. Yes, I definitely did because it is included in the clip. I like to add in a poached egg in my instant ramen sometimes as well, but I guess I was a little bit too lazy on this particular day. Okay, so this next one's a bit of a fun one, guys. I've got some sweet potato tteokbokki, which I am going to cook up. And I just pre-bought the sauce, really. You just add a bit of water, steam the tteokbokki, and add your sauce in. Really simple and really delicious. Okay, so this next clip, guys, I've got loads of minced garlic, some salt, and a pretty large chunk of butter, which I'm melting down. I've also got some topside steak that I've cubed up. So once I melt the butter and let the garlic and salt mingle in with the butter, I start to add in my beef. And I think adding enoki mushrooms into this mix would be really nice as well, but I ran out of enoki mushrooms, so this is what we're working with. This was actually served on the side with some white rice, but I think I forgot to film that clip for you guys. I do add in some soya sauce and some hot pepper paste, but I think I forgot to film that bit, but this is the finished product, guys. Okay, in this clip, guys, I've got some simple pork mince meatballs. I've got garlic, oyster sauce, fish sauce, Chinese cooking wine, and a little bit of salt. I'm using a tomato hot pot base as my soup base, but you can use whatever base you like. You can find mushroom bases, pork bases. You'll find lots of soups at your Asian grocer. So once I pop that in and the water starts boiling, I start shaping my pork meatballs and putting it in the soup base. I think I forgot to mention I did add in 1 egg in my pork mince mixture. A nice addition into the pork mince balls would also be some dried shiitake mushrooms. All you gotta do is rehydrate them and dice them and add them into the mixture. But I was a little bit lazy this day, so I kept the meatballs really simple. Once the meatballs are cooked, I start to add in my mushrooms and my leafy greens, which you guys will see shortly. I think adding oyster mushrooms in this would also be really nice, and I really like those giant king mushrooms, but they're a little bit on the pricey end, so I didn't pick those up this week. So you guys can see that I'm trying to add in some leafy greens into the mix as well. So I've added in a whole load of baby spinach, but it wilts down and you barely notice it in the meal. So I've just spooned the soup on top of some rice pho noodles, and it was so good. Probably one of my favorite winter meals at the moment. Now, I think this next meal is a bit of a throw it together meal because I grabbed some beef from the freezer, had some zucchini in the fridge, and I've minced up some garlic. And then I had some leftover pad thai noodles I tossed in the freezer. So I've got some ABC sauce, soy sauce, and oyster sauce. So you guys would have seen the pad thai meal in this video. And I had some leftover noodles, which I kind of just put in a box and tossed in the freezer. So I'm going to use that up in this meal. Got some butter, garlic. Again, I'm just going to saute that a little bit, then toss in my zucchini and do a light seasoning of salt. I tried to wait for the pot to get really hot, so I waited for the garlic to bubble so I get a nice sear on the beef strips, but somehow I still ruined it. I think because the beef strips were frozen, so even though the pan was really hot, the meat kind of just thawed, especially because I overcrowded the pot. Nonetheless, the meal was still really good. So once the meat is probably about 25% cooked, I've added in some oyster sauce. And again, I'm adding in some soy sauce. Absolutely love these two sauces when I'm cooking Asian meals. And I'm just going to mix that through before I show you my next steps. Now, once the meat is cooked, I actually pull it out and put it into a separate bowl because I don't want it to overcook whilst I cook the zucchini, and I wanted to cook the zucchini in this nice decadent beefy sauce. So the beef's been pulled out, I'm adding in my zucchini. Now, I'm somebody that likes my zucchini cooked fairly well. I like it soft, so I think I probably cooked that for about 2 to 3 minutes before adding in my noodles. Now, I am adding in a little bit of that ABC glaze just to add a bit of sweetness to the sauce as well, because you guys would have seen I added a lot of savory flavors. So here are the noodles. I'm going to toss them in. They're already cooked. They just need some reheating. So once that's all mixed in with the sauce, I add in my cooked beef, and that's pretty much it, guys. If I had some bean sprouts, I would add that in as well, but like I said, this is a throw it together meal, and I'm using leftover ingredients, so I'm just working with what I have. It was a nice, quick, easy dinner, and it was relatively budget friendly as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.